To start, go ahead and part your hair off where you always part it. I use a middle part, but if you're someone who parts both ways to the right and the left, just make sure you're not highlighting on your actual part line. So for me, this is the no highlight zone. And why that is because I'm showing you an at-home technique. This is not something that I would duplicate in the salon. This is just the easiest way to do this by yourself, on yourself. We're going to be foiling like this, making a rainbow on the head. Typically on the part line, you would foil horizontal like this. That way it doesn't create this blockage of color. So to avoid that, we're just gonna leave the part line out. I'm gonna section this off from the bottom of the brow and put this side in a clip so I don't get overwhelmed. Bottom of the brow on this side, and I have some colors going on. On my main channel, I tested the L'Oreal Color Sonic hair coloring tool. This is the color from that. But here's a close-up of what my root color looks like. I'm using Quick White today, that's from Sally's, and it's a 1:2 ratio. This full packet is 1 ounce, so I'll match it with 2 ounces of developer. I would recommend 10 or 20, especially if this is your first time. You don't wanna use a 40 volume and fry your hair off. Leaving the hairline out. The hairline is also a no color zone. Do not color this. You'll get a tiger stripe. I'm gonna slice off a little piece here. It's very thin, you can see my hand through it. You can slice these, which is just like this, or weave them. I'm going to weave them, which is just up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Pull off the top. Take your foil, comb, make a little lip, just like that. The little lip is going to be on the bottom. Starting in the middle of the hair, moving it down. You drag it down, it kind of teases it a little bit, and that will help you have a softer line. Take the lightener and paint it on. Now for me, I'm only going to be doing a root retouch because the bottom is mostly blonde. This is a bad example because this is that L'Oreal Color Sonic. At the top, you're going to take your brush up and down, vertical. You don't want to extend the lightener past the foil because lightener will puff up and swell. Fold this twice. The little lip on the bottom will help catch any leakage. Hopefully you don't have any, but if you do, that will help prevent it from making a tiger stripe. I'm gonna take a pretty large subsection because these are gonna be pretty natural. Leaving the hairline out, slicing off the top of this, and weaving it. Grab what's on top, checking it to make sure I want all this colored and I don't want that much in the back. Drop the color off, you hold the bottom of the hair tight. Only painting the dark parts in my case. I am kind of overlapping this L'Oreal hair color. That is a no-no for the most part, but that's the only way for me to break up that box color. Remember to take it diagonal at the root and not extend past the foil. Actually leave it a little bit below because it's gonna swell up. If you're trying to color the whole hair, you will continue through the ends. So we're creating a rainbow. Another piece down, leaving the hairline out. Slicing off the top, weaving it up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Taking the top off. And you're in control of how thick or thin you want that weave to be. If you like it on the chunkier side, make sure you can still see your hand through it. If it's too thick, the lightener isn't gonna penetrate through the bottom. So it's just gonna rest on the top. Then you'll have a bunch of cheetah spots. Fold the piece of foil over, take it in the middle, down, to help with the feathered look. Drop the lightener off in the middle, take it vertical, and kind of dry brush the top. You don't want to overload your brush with lightener. That will also cause it to seep out the foil. At the top especially, it just has very minimal lightener. If you're not coloring the ends, make sure that the ends are out. You don't want to over process them. Also, you're never zip locking the foil, which would be like taking the foil and making a crease. This would cause the bleach to push up and you'll have a stripe here. So you can just tap it when you're folding it. Here's my part line, so I'll have room for one more foil. Right? Yes, because we are staying off the part line. And I'll show you how to do horizontal foils on yourself in another video. It's a little bit trickier because they want to slide due to gravity, but it can be done. Hairline out. Missed a spot. Ooh, here we go. That's too chunky. That has a little gold, so I'm gonna lightly dust that through. Now here's the part line that we're gonna leave out, and we're gonna start on the other side to connect the rainbow. You're starting in the same spot. Don't forget you're leaving your part line out. So I'm gonna go ahead and move mine to the other side. This is going to be my last one. Now, if these are getting hard to grab, you can fold the sides over like that. And baby lights are meant to be super tiny. So the thinner these are, the more natural it's going to look. So I've got my part line left out. Foils are really close to it, but not exactly on the part line. If you want, you can put a horizontal foil here, not on top where the part of your hair starts to go back. You don't want to put it on top. When it grows out, it's going to be a little obvious, but if you do them thin enough, it'll blend. I'm just going to leave that part out, but I am going to throw a horizontal foil in this. This is the, what are these called? Money piece. This is the money piece. Here's the roots that have grown out. I don't want the money piece anymore, but I also don't want these roots. The best way to blend this is to put horizontal foils in it and then put a toner on it. I'm gonna take a horizontal line and I'm going to weave this really tiny weaves. Pull this up. It's super tiny. Kind of have to fold the foil and just use one eyeball. Only tapping my roots. Tap, 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 tap. Trying not to overlap. There's a little bit of dark right there. We can get vertical at the top. That was a terrible fold. I do not fold foils well at all. In the salon, I always use paper, and on myself, I generally use paper. They were just out of it at the supply store. Paper to me is easier to manage, and it always looks much neater. And the reason you're taking the brush vertical, you want to think of this as painting grass. Do, 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 instead of a straight line. You want this to be a more feathered look, so when it grows out, it's growing out like grass, feathered, and not line, 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 line. Now I'm going to take down another subsection. It's super thin, and I'm going to weave that. Very tiny. Just tapping the root. Vertical for the grass effect, not extending past the foil. And this last piece, weave this. Only color what's on top. It doesn't look like much, but it really will make a big difference. Now I'm gonna let this process. There is no exact processing time for lightener. You just have to check it. You're letting it process to whatever level you want. Don't worry if it's orange or yellow. It will have a tone to it, unless you're going all the way to white, which is not recommended. You can see this foil is ready. It's a pretty bright blonde. It's still a little damp, but it definitely needs a toner. The part line looks the same. I can pull my hair back and I won't have any highlight lines. It's just when you comb through it, it'll help break this base up. This part looks okay. Still has a line of demarcation, but it blends a lot better than it did. I'm growing my hair out right now and it's in the in-between stage and it gets on my nerves, so I just clip it up. Just ignore it. And again, your hair will need a toner. When you bleach it, it's either going to have a tonality of yellow or orange. Mine is more of a yellow, so I'll use something with violet to cancel it out. My go-to is 8 BV, 8 Blue Violet. It's not a platinum blonde, it's more of a sandy blonde. It helps blend the root area to the rest. You can do a toner right now. Right after you shampoo this while it's wet, you can put the toner on. I typically wait at least a day just so I can look at it in different lights and decide what toner I want. And sometimes I'll do a root tap where I'll take a darker color like a 7N and tap the roots, literally just tapping this part of the root with a brush, bing, so it looks more of a grown out look, more natural.